Welcome back everyone, it is Mike from ManaHoarders. In this video we are bringing you a commander deck tech for a Prismari commander, Veyran, Voice of Duality. You can cast Veyran for 1, a blue and a red, you get a 2/2 Ifrit Wizard. It has Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Veyran gets +1/+1 until end of turn. The second ability is also very interesting. If casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Before we dive into the deck, let's go over a few key points. First up, the final price for this build came in at $62.42. This does include the price of our commander and all of our lands. Now do bear in mind some of these prices will vary greatly depending on the quality of the cards you purchase, the vendor you use, and a variety of other factors. In terms of power level, I would rate this build around a 7 out of 10 on the power scale, though there is plenty of room for improvement. With our commander, we want to cast plenty of instants and sorceries, so we included quite a fair amount in this deck. Now we also wanted to keep the converted mana cost fairly low so we could cast multiple in a turn and maximize the amount of value that we're generating. And my personal favorite part of the deck is our trigger happy permanents. We have plenty of enchantments and creatures that will generate tons of value when we cast instants and sorceries, and with our commander out, we'll generate twice as much value instead. Now let's go ahead and dive into the deck. First up are our artifacts. Izzet Signet can tap to give us a blue mana and a red mana. Mind Stone taps for a colorless, we can also sacrifice it to draw a card. Soul Ring can tap for 2 colorless mana. Talisman of Creativity can tap for a red or a blue, but it will do 1 damage to us. And Thought Vessel gives us no maximum hand size, it can also tap to add a colorless mana. Moving on to our creatures, we do have some legends helping out our commander. Dika, Fractal Theorist. It has Magecraft. Whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, we will get a 0/0 green and blue Fractal creature token, and it will get X/1/1 counters where X is the spell's mana value. Krark the Thumbless. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell, we will flip a coin. If we lose the flip, we return that spell to our hand, and if we win, we will copy the spell and choose new targets for the copy. Niv Mizzet Parun. For 3 blue and 3 red, we get a 5/5 dragon wizard that can't be countered, has flying. Whenever we draw a card, deals 1 damage to any target, and whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, we will draw a card. And Talran Sky Summoner. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we get a 2/2 blue drake creature token with flying. And for our not so legendary creatures, Archmage Emeritus. Whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery, we can draw a card. Aven Windmage. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, gets +1/+1. Bloodwater Entity has Prowess. Whenever it enters, we can put target instant or sorcery card from our graveyard on top of our library. Electrostatic Field. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Elusive Spellfist. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked until end of turn. Firebrand Archer. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Guttersnipe. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, Guttersnipe deals 2 damage to each opponent. Lunar Mystic. Whenever we cast an instant, we can pay 1, and if we do, we will draw a card. Mercurial Geists has flying, and whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Murmuring Mystic. When we cast an instant or sorcery, will pump out these 1/1 blue bird creature tokens with flying. Nibless of Frost has Prowess, and whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we can use it to tap down our opponent's creatures. Rock Slide Sorcerer. Whenever we cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell, can deal 1 damage to any target. Smelt Ward Minotaur. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, target creature an opponent controls can't block this turn. Soulblade Jin. Whenever a non-creature spell is cast, creatures we control get +1/+1. Storm Chaser Mage has flying, haste, and prowess. Stormkiln Artist. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we get a treasure token. Umara Mystic is +2/+0 whenever we cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell. We Dragonauts get +2/+0 whenever we cast an instant or sorcery. Wind Rider Wizard. Whenever we cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell, we can draw a card, and if we do, we will discard a card. And Young Pyromancer. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we'll create a 1/1 red elemental creature token. We will be including a few enchantments. Firemind's Research. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, you'll get a charge counter. We can pay 1 in a blue, remove 2 charge counters to draw a card, or 1 in a red, remove 5 charge counters and deal 5 damage to any target. Jace's Sanctum makes it our instants and sorcery spells cost 1 less, and whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we can scry. Metallurgic Summonings. Whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, we'll get an XX colorless construct artifact creature token, where X is the spell's mana value. Sunbird's Invocation. Whenever we cast a spell from our hand, we'll reveal the top X cards of our library, where X is that spell's mana value, and we can cast a spell from among them with mana value X or less before we put the rest of the cards on the bottom of our library. We will be including 1 planeswalker, Saheeli Sublime Artificer, and whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we'll create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Moving on to our instants, Abrade can deal 3 damage to target creature or destroy target artifact. Chemister's Insight has Jumpstart and will allow us to draw 2 cards. Crypsis, target creature we control gains protection from creatures your opponents control until end of turn, and we can untap it. Disperse can return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Dive Down, target creature gets +0/+3 and gains hexproof. Expedite, target creature gains haste and we'll draw a card. First Day of Class, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control this turn, it will get a 1/1 counter on it and it gains haste. Negate can counter target non-creature spell. Opt will allow us to scry one and then draw one. Radical Idea allows us to draw a card. We can also jumpstart it. Resculpt will exile target artifact or creature, and the controller gets a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Rewind will counter target spell, and we can untap up to 4 lands. Seething Song gives us 5 red mana. Shadow Rift, target creature gains shadow until end of turn, and we can draw a card. And Unsummon can return target creature to its owner's hand. Moving on to our sorceries. Cosmotronic Wave deals 1 damage to each creature our opponents control, and creatures your opponents control can't block this turn. Crash Through gives our creatures trample, and we can draw a card. Divination allows us to draw 2. Faithless Looting, we will draw 2 and then discard 2. Ghost Form makes up to 2 target creatures unblockable this turn. One of my favorite cards in the deck, and one that actually won me a couple games when playtesting, Gravitic Punch. Target creature we control deals damage equal to its power to target player. We can also jumpstart it to recast it from our graveyard. Haze of Rage has Storm, where creatures we control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Maximize Altitude, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying. Maximize Velocity, the creature gets +1/+1 and gains haste. Mind Spring, we can draw X cards. Open into Wonder, X target creatures can't be blocked this turn, and until end of turn, those creatures gain, whenever they deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. Seething Anger, target creature gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Sleep, we will tap all creatures target player controls, and those creatures don't untap during that player's next untap step. Slip Through Space, target creature can't be blocked, we can also draw a card. And Warlord's Fury will give all of our creatures first strike before drawing us a card. And last but not least is our mana base. We are keeping things very basic, with 18 basic islands and 17 basic mountains. And just like that, we've reached the end of this Commander Deck Tech. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and leave a comment down below. Let us know what commanders you would like to see us build around in the future. Modern Horizons 2 is just around the corner, and we are excited to get brewing. We really appreciate your support.